All right, we're rolling on take 2. I messed up. I didn't set the inputs correctly on the mics. We were only getting one mic before it, and you guys just missed out on a lot of good stuff. So we're going to try our best to bring that forth again.
Yeah, let's hit rewind on this and just take it back to, what was it, 5 minutes ago?
Yep. You got your crystals ready?
Yeah.
In the time machine, Napoleon Dynamite style.
Engage. All right. Well, hello, Iron Will Collective. Welcome back. Episode 10. This is a momentous occasion for us. This is a landmark episode.
Yes. Thank you to everybody who has been with us since the start. We hope to be continually putting out an ever evolving, in a positive way, product for you guys. We want to keep getting better at speaking and bringing information that could be useful to the audience. So again, thank you very much for everybody who has listened. Everybody who has listened. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you very, very much. And our main goal is to be of use, be very helpful, and help spread ideas that can help you live a more meaningful life, a healthier life, and make the world a better place by doing so. And with that, yes, we thank you.
So also to note with that is that feel free to reach out to us if you guys have any questions. We are available in many places on the internet, including Meet Me, Pile of Fish, Tinder, Grindr, WhatsApp, and also Yelp. So anywhere, any of those sites you can find us.
I didn't make all of those accounts, but I definitely made the Yelp account.
Yeah, I definitely made the Grindr one. You got to talk to those hunks. You got to talk to those beefcakes.
Look, man, people are people.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care if you like the man or the woman. I just care if you like muscles and you like losing fat and like being healthy. I don't care if you're into having sex with the tailpipe of your car. As long as it's not my car, or as long as you at least are a generous lover with my car.
Wow. Well, that's very generous of you. But
just so everybody knows, I drive a Kia Sorento.
Oh, yeah. What color?
7.
See, I couldn't have answered that question because there's no other way to describe it. Only you can put it so artfully.
Yep. Imagine what colors a blind person sees, and that's what color my car is.
Whoa. I like it.
I do too.
Give me 4. So
anyways, today, what we wanted to talk to you about is different modalities of training and different ways that you can get active and preferably stay active through the entirety of your active life when you can be active. So there are so many ways to train. Yes, we typically stay in the realm of weight room activities, and we just want you to know that there's a lot more than that out there. There's a lot more than bodybuilding style of training or powerlifting style of training and stuff like that. You can go out and play sports. You can go walking. You can go power walking. You can go mall walking. There are so many ways that you can be active, and we just want to open the minds of the audience to more options that they have, because first and foremost, it's important that you are exercising. The way you exercise, that's going to be up to you. Yes, weightlifting comes with a lot of great benefits as far as gaining strength and helping to strengthen not just your muscles, but also your bones and your connective tissue. But you can achieve similar results through activity in other ways. So we're going to talk about a few of those here today.
Yeah, so I think that we usually like to stick to resistance training because there's so much crossover within all the different disciplines. Whether you're a power lifter, a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, all three of you are probably going to be doing pretty similar things at some point.
I think resistance training can be compared to a revolution in a country. So, say you are overweight and you are weak and you don't like where your body's at. You are the citizens in a country that is run by people that do not have your best interest. And the only way that you can change this is if you resist. Resistance training. You revolt, you rebel, you hit that weight room, and you make your body the country that you want to live in.
For the resistance.
La Restance. Restance. I know French.
All right. So you can find Iron Will Collective La Restance merch available at our booth table. It's run by Kevin. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, he'll tell you he's certified, but he's not.
Yep. Buy his program, please. Get injured, come see us.
300 clients speaks for itself.
Dang. So yeah, that's kind of an inside thing. We were talking about that earlier. But I think it would help people to know. We can kind of go over Kevin, and then we'll circle back to different forms of training.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's hear about Kevin. If you don't mind telling the story again. I know you're going to be sounding like a broken record over here saying it all day, every day. You're going to be dreaming about Kevin tonight. But I think it's important that the audience knows how it is their responsibility to not put all of their trust into any individual, first of all, without really establishing that person is worthy of that, of your money, and your putting your physical well-being at times into the hands of someone who might not really be who they say they are.
Right.
So let's hear about Kevin.
All right. So I'm going to make this kind of a short and to the point version as best as I can.
We need details too, so like last name, social security number, where to find him, website, stuff like that.
Features.
Yes.
The tattoo on his left eye.
God dang, he's got an eyeball tattoo.
Dude, Kevin was the real deal.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. It sounds kind of scary.
No, Kevin was cool. He was a cool guy, and that's the thing. So Kevin was a cool guy. I used to work out at a big box gym, and I would go pretty consistently later on in the afternoon. So I started to get an idea of who the regulars were, and I also had an idea of who had a physique that was something that I was striving towards. So they were similar to what I was striving towards. And so the thinking behind that is you want to find those guys, you want to do what they're doing because obviously they're doing it right based off of appearance. They look like they know what's going on. So
Looks can be deceiving.
yeah, as we will soon find out. So I started chatting it up with good old Kev, and like I said, cool guy, plenty of good conversations, and we clicked on a couple things, which made it really fun for me because I saw him as like a very valuable resource of information as well as being a friendly guy. So that could really help take me to the next level in my workouts because at that point I was figuring it out. I had just started with my personal training certification and had kind of emerged from the very limited view of fitness that came from bodybuilding magazines and websites and other similar kinds of resources, and I started to expand my vision, but I wasn't in it deep enough to like be able to tell what was good info and bad info. I really hadn't become that aware. So that's why we are bringing this info to you, Iron Will Collective. You people, beautiful people, you deserve to know. So Kev's a cool guy, and so he offered to like be Instagram friends, and so I'm on his profile and I see this guy's got hella followers. He has so many followers, like thousands. I mean, to me 5,000 is a lot of followers. So he's obviously doing something right, and I had to ask him like, man, how do you do it? Because he told me he had like 300 clients, personal training clients that he worked with online. So I asked him like, man, you've got to be making a lot of money. How do you do it? Are you certified? And so we kind of got into the talks of it. It didn't sound that great, to be honest, but the worst of it was he said that he was NASM certified, which excited me because I had just started my certification. And I was like, I had asked him a question that was specific to the NASM training model, which is called the OPT model. I asked him what he thought about it because I was having difficulty grasping the concept at that time. And so the question was kind of shrugged off, and I felt like he didn't want to get into it. Almost like hesitation to answer because he didn't know, which raised suspicion. So I ended up looking his name up on the NASM website. So I went full creeper, but I was really wondering because I was ready to like aspire to be similar to what this guy was doing, and I saw him as a healthy guy who was helping other people and giving out information that would help them achieve their goal. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So, come to find out, he doesn't have a certification. It was total BS, and on his Instagram, he had put very clearly NASM CPT certified.
Maybe it just expired.
That's the thing, though. They show on the website whether you are active, expired, or if you've never had one.
Not in good standing.
Yeah, his name just never came up. It was like not empty searches, you know. It was complete junk. So it gave me this distrust, and it showed the lack of integrity that some people have when it comes to training. I never wanted this type of work to be a means to an end just because I had a body or knew a couple of things. I genuinely wanted to help people because I genuinely needed the help myself. It benefited me in immeasurable ways. Like it literally has made me a better person. And I think that other people would benefit from this knowledge, this information. So I wanted to be able to pass it down. And to see somebody who looked like they were doing just that, but they're actually just doing it for a paycheck with little regard to the people that they're helping. I mean, I'll give Kevin some credit here. I don't know how good his programs were, but
Oh, they're sick. I bought 2.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think you should come out and claim that you are something when you're not, because part of integrity is honesty.
It's just sketchy. Like, if anybody, or does it require an NASM account to search the database, or can
No.
anybody just hop on
Anybody.
and fact check this guy on his certification? So that's
Yeah.
just stupid. He is asking to be caught in his web of lies. So tip number 1, lie as often as you can, as long as it's going to make you money.
Yeah, step on the heads, baby. You need to push people down to get up. And that's what I think it feels like. It just feels kind of scummy. It's like, if you're going to do that to pretend that you have some credibility, maybe you should actually just get the certification, because that way you wouldn't have to worry about anything and you would actually be able to deliver on the promises that you're making to people.
But God forbid you have to crack a book.
Yeah, and that might be the problem. Like, good intention, best of heart, just terrible ethics.
Too lazy to put in the legwork needed to actually earn a certification. So that's another thing we got to note, is that something that we were speaking about earlier, is that the industry is not very regulated. Anybody who's got the money to put toward a certification can get one. And I'll note that the certification industry is hugely lucrative as well. So they probably really bank on people probably buying the certs and not even taking the classes and stuff like that. I don't know. Just like a gym. But I think that if you are serious about wanting to help people, then there are many ways that you can go about learning. And it doesn't have to be through a piece of paper. Like, you can go and learn in the field, like find someone who can teach you this stuff, and you can still be just as credible. But lying about what you have is never going to be a good option, I think.
No. Like you were saying, you can learn via different avenues apart from
YouTube.
certifications.
Iron Will Collective.
Yeah.
YouTube.
There we go. We will be releasing a full personal training certification just for you. But I mean, you can learn hands-on. You can have a buddy who knows this stuff and is willing to train you and takes you kind of helps you along as you accumulate this knowledge, or take the traditional route. No matter which way you take, I think just be open and honest about that. It's like lying about a college degree to get a job where that degree is actually pretty necessary. Like lying about having a doctorates or something. Like,
Yeah,
do you expect that to go well?
it's not going to end well. This reminds me of a story about a high school football player who was telling like his coaches and his friends and everybody at his school that he was being recruited by like all these Division I schools. So he was like a highly sought after athlete. But it later came out that he had no offers from any school. He was lying about all of this stuff. They set up like a press conference and stuff to where he was supposed to, like on signing day, he was supposed to reveal the school that he was choosing to go to. And he like lied about it at the press conference, and it came out like the coaches of that school, like I don't remember who it was, like Oregon or something. They're like, yeah, we don't know who this guy is. Talk about embarrassing. Talk about losing the respect of a lot of people. Just be honest with yourself, and things will be a bit simpler.
Yeah.
Might not be easier, but they'll be simpler.
Exactly. Be as truthful as you can be. But what it really comes down to is we'd like to remind people that things aren't always as they seem. So Kevin was a really cool, solid dude, and he had been training consistently enough to where he had seen results for himself. But he was dishonest to others. You can make that judgment on your own. If you know that information about him and you'd still like to, buy a program and all that, that's awesome. That's on you. Make your own decisions, though. Do your due diligence, and remember that it's easy to be sold on things that are too good to be true sometimes. So, what do you say? Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. There are these commercials for this dishwashing detergent that you put in your washing machine, and they say that you just throw your dirty dishes in and they come out spotless. And that's just plain not true. You got to wash them a little bit first. So that's
true.
That's one example, but think of the stakes are a lot higher when it's not your casserole dish and it's actually your body. You could be led astray and you could be injured, or you could train with someone who doesn't give a damn about you, and they're just taking your money and you're not making any results, and they're not putting any effort toward figuring out why and actually putting you on the path to success. So be diligent, be analytical.
Yeah.
Don't go into things like this blind. Of course, try multiple things to see what's going to work for you, and just keep an open mind, but don't blindly follow.
So that's kind of a good segue back to the variety of lifts, because you mentioned
Not even
trying
just
different
lifts,
things.
just different ways to exercise.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes so much further than the lifts. There is heavy crossover though. So let's start with powerlifting. How would you describe powerlifting?
So powerlifting, for those of you who don't know, is a sport that is comprised of 3 main events.
Yeah.
And those being the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. You are required to do these lifts in a particular fashion in order to get passable reps, and you are graded off of in most cases, the total weight that you lift between the 3. And you also have the option, just compete in singular events if you'd prefer. But you're graded and you're ranked on the amount of weight that you can lift with proper form.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a really competitive sport, as most sports are, but powerlifters are a very cool and dedicated breed of people, especially very highly proficient powerlifters, people who are in the advanced level of lifting, because there's not much money in it. They do it because they truly, absolutely love it. They love to be stronger. And so powerlifting events, although I've never been to one personally, and I'd love to, it's a place where you're just watching people hit their maxes like all in one day. It's really awesome. Strict form, I think, is something that's great because in a variety of other sports, your form can be it can suck, and you'll still get a pass so long as you make the point. So
Yeah, like in basketball, you can shoot your free throw with a granny shot, and as long as it goes in the bucket, you still get the reward.
exactly. So there's not much emphasis, and there's a lot of variation.
But if you go on a powerlifting stage and you attempt to squat and you don't reach sufficient depth for that federation, then you're not gonna get that. What is it, a white light or a green light? I don't know.
Yeah,
You're gonna
the
get a red
thumbs
light.
up.
You're gonna get a red light and a thumbs down.
A thumbs down, and that's it. No PR. But with that emphasis of form, let's see, what else do we have? Use of specific accessories. So in powerlifting, there is a variety of different accessories that you can use, and a lot of these are actually kind of common to your more average non-competitor. So things like knee wraps or knee sleeves, wrist wraps. Let's see, what else? I guess a bench shirt or deadlift singlet wouldn't be considered average for your non-competitor, but there's a couple of implements that you may have already seen, and that's just designed to help people usually maintain form integrity or grip onto the bar better. So I would consider like chalk as one of those helpful tools. But all in all, if you're a powerlifter, you want to lift as heavy weights as possible, as much as you can. That's what you strive towards. So their training is pretty specific to that goal. So would you like to talk a little bit about how you train if you're a power lifter, just in a general sense?
Yeah, so again, coming from me who is not a power lifter, just knows a bit about it.
Yeah.
From what I know, power lifters will generally heavily rely, or if you're doing it smart at least, you will heavily rely on periodization, which essentially means that at different phases during your month or your quarter year or whatever, you're doing different things in order to elicit certain response. So say you spend the first part of a cycle focusing on lighter weight and form, and then you gradually start ramping up until you are near competition, and then you need to like taper it in order to ensure that when the competition date comes around, you are at your peak performance.
Right.
And that's how you'll do it with a lot of these competition sports too, like strongman, weightlifting. These will all follow a similar protocol as that, though it's not unheard of for someone to just hop right into it, just train and then however they think is fit, not really thinking about the long-term puzzle pieces in their cycle. So
Those
this
are
is
usually
just,
outliers.
yeah, liars like Kevin. Yeah.
Good old kid. No, they're usually like the genetic weirdos that just seem to be freakishly good
They're
at
farm
this.
strong.
Yeah, farm strong. I mean,
Lance Farmstrong.
he was definitely on something.
Yeah. On a bike.
That farm juice. Straight to the brain. But yeah, so there definitely is a lot of crossover when it comes to periodization and how you organize your training into specific blocks. There's also crossover on a lot of the exercises. So I tell my clients that all of these movements are skills, and that to become proficient at it, you have to practice. Like any skill, you have to just put in the work to get better at it. And the less you do it, the less you have of that skill. So powerlifters obviously stick to their three main lifts. A weightlifter or an Olympic weightlifter, they're definitely going to benefit to sticking to the more sport specific lifts, like they do clean and jerk. What else?
I don't know specifically all of them, but mostly crazy things where you end up taking a heavy bar from the
Yeah.
floor and putting it over your head.
Exactly.
That kind of stuff.
It's super difficult if you don't train it. So they are very sport specific, but the crossover lies in the accessory movements. So everybody's body responds to exercise, and I mean there's a lot of similarity in the way people respond. So what we know about exercise is certain rep ranges. So for an example, there's the strength training rep range, like 1 to 5, will produce more of a strength adaptation as opposed to a hypertrophy adaptations or muscle gain.
It's key to note with both of these, though, that regardless of rep range, in order to get the desired response, this means you have to pick a challenging weight for this rep range.
Exactly.
So just because you're looking to hit somewhere like a 5 rep of something,
Yeah.
you're not going to pick the same weight that you would use to 12 rep. You're going to pick something significantly heavier.
Right.
And vice versa. If you're going for 12 reps, you're not going to pick your max load. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. So you need to always remember that it is important that your weight selection, or even if you don't have the option to increase weight, so like for certain things like push-ups or something, that you are continuing to increase the difficulty to elicit that progressive overload.
Yeah. The adaptation that your body makes is really based off of the stress that's imposed on it. So if you're going to be lifting in that 1 to 5 rep range, it better reflect your 1 rep max in that, well,
It's a higher percentage of your 1 rep.
Exactly. It's a higher percentage of your 1 rep max. So if you know the heaviest absolute weight you could lift for 1 rep with good form, strict form, then you can base your rep ranges and your lifts off of that.
So like take 85% of that and then use that for your lower rep strength work. And then if you want to do your high rep work, take like 75% of it. So you can manage it. And again, it's not 100% mandatory, especially for beginners, to even know their 1 rep max. We've said it before and we'll say it again. It's super important that you give yourself plenty of time to drill form before focusing on strength. As you spend your time drilling form, it's not like you're just fucking lifting the PVC up. You're going to be lifting weight and you're going to be getting stronger. You're going to be building muscle.
Yeah.
But it's super important that you respect the weight, that these weights can hurt you at any time. So you want to take everything in your control to make sure that you don't get snapped up.
Your body will thank you. Your back will thank you. Any kind of injury that would be potentially caused by bad form can totally be avoided. Well, I don't want to say totally. Form can always break down no matter how trained you are,
and things can happen. If you're in the weight room, let's be honest,
it's dangerous.
You're gonna get dinged up every now and then.
Yeah.
But it's up to you to minimize the extent of that, minimize how often that is, and that also coming into play with that is your outside the gym habits. So your nutrition, your stress, your sleep, these will all play a role in the ultimate health of your body.
Yeah. So put all the pieces together. Everything that you do can be considered relevant to something that seemingly isn't related at all. So like we were kind of talking earlier about this, an example of a guy who would go to the gym to relieve stress, but otherwise has no outlet for some stress. So this is our hypothetical person, this dude who goes to work out to blow some steam off. He pushes it hard. He's been consistent for a pretty long while, but as of late has not been able to make progress. So although his work in the gym has been on point, let's assume that, he goes home and he freaking hates his life and hates his job. So he's constantly stressed all day long. It's like a deep internal stress, the kind that keeps you awake. So from a biological point of view, we can look at that and determine there's in excess of stress hormones, obviously, like cortisol, which inhibits muscle gain. It is a catabolic hormone, not anabolic. What we want is anabolic. That means your body is growing. Catabolic means it is actually getting smaller.
And it's important to note that you cannot defeat the catabolic state that your body is going to be putting you in through times of day. So you can kind of look at it like on a graph. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have times where you're more anabolic than catabolic and times where you're more catabolic than anabolic, because your body needs to be breaking things down in order to function properly. So that's just how it happens. Yes. So in order to gain muscle, if that's your goal, you'll be looking to achieve that net anabolic state over the long term. So this kind of brings us to things like the anabolic window and stuff like that are just like misconceptions, to where if you don't eat a meal within an hour after your workout, your body's going to start to munch on the muscles, which it is just not that simple. So
no, it's super important to understand that we as organisms require that stress on our systems. It's part of the balance. So you do want net anabolic, like you mentioned, but
unless you're trying to lose weight, then you want net catabolic.
That's very true. Very true. And that's an important distinction to make. So it's just defining those terms, understanding them, and knowing that they are both 100% crucial. But if you find yourself in a place where you are constantly being flooded with cortisol, as opposed to it being up shortly after you wake up in the morning and then tapering down as the day goes on, allowing room for melatonin, which can be considered like an antagonist to cortisol in some ways, it would create the perfect hormonal state for your body to sleep. If cortisol is present in the body in excess, melatonin does not work. So you get sleep issues. So that's where our dude is failing in one way. Because remember, he's killing it in the gym, but he's going home and he's so stressed out he can't sleep, or he can't get good sleep. And so it's actually eating into his gains. He is net catabolic when he really needs to be net anabolic.
What he really needs to do is possibly stop worrying too much about the gym and start to assess the root of the issues that are causing him this unnecessary stress. Yeah. He thinks that going to the gym is his outlet. And yeah, it might be part of a outlet, but it's obviously not doing the whole job. So he needs to take a step back and look at some other aspects of his life that he could possibly smooth out.
Yeah, it's really, really important to be able to take a step back and assess like what you're doing to vent real stresses, because everybody is dealing with their own struggle, internal, external. We all have stuff going on. So be able to zoom out for a little bit, kind of see the bigger picture, understand what is stressing you out, and then making steps to minimize those things. You'll never be completely free of it. Like we just said earlier, your body needs to go through states of anabolism and catabolism, so ups and downs. It's natural. Let them be balanced though, because if you're too far in one direction, it's going to inhibit any progress that you'd like to be making towards your goal. It's going to mess you up, man.
I think a takeaway point for anyone listening who is dealing with stress, a good thing to try is maybe just fat more. If you just like, there you go. If you get stressed out, just go and fat. And you're going to blow off a little bit of steam there. You'll be all right.
Yeah, have a good imagination or something. Tip. And just make it happen. But
imagination.
Take care of yourself.
Man, I got one of those Japanese dolls.
That's a hefty investment, but I'm not as serious as you are.
I'm serious about keeping the stress down.
Yeah,
everybody should be.
Oddly enough, dude, cold showers have worked really well for me. I've been doing them now consistently for about a month, every day.
You're like a polar bear.
Not really, man. It's still it still sucks at first, but I've gotten to a point where I actually see it as an enjoyable thing. Like, it's my fun.
You're burning calories in there.
It wakes me up. It's like a slap in the face. It's a slap on the nuts too. I mean, everything is cold, everything. But while at first it seemed to cause more stress than it took away, it's now gotten to a point where I can tolerate the stress of the cold, and I feel like it's allowed me to be able to tolerate the stress of, daily life and other things, internal, external struggles.
It's kind of raised your threshold for discomfort.
Yeah. And so has weightlifting. That absolutely has helped with that. And so that's why I don't think this dude is entirely wrong. But if you have things that are getting to you and affecting you on a level that you're missing out on sleep, or you're not able to sink into this parasympathetic state where you're allowing time for rest and digest as opposed to fight or flight, then you would benefit from trying things you haven't tried yet, or going back to things you've tried that have worked. Meditation, yoga, cold showers, fapping, cinnamon.
I think cold showers and fapping kind of butt heads a little bit.
The same time, dude.
Because don't they usually say if you have some pent up sexual frustration, they say go take a cold shower. Yeah, I think just go and fap in the cold shower. That'll do it.
Well,
2 birds, 1 stone.
Follow logic. Whatever is ailing you, there's a solution to it. Just know that. And the gains will come, bro. You just need to stay true to your path.
Fap in the cold shower at the gym and you'll be good.
I heard you can use shampoo too.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend it.
Oh man. Hey Lena.
No, this is why people come and listen, because they are going to hear the real advice that you're not going to hear on any of those Disney Channel lifting podcasts. Though we are sponsored by Radio Disney. And Bus Radio for that matter. We're on multiple platforms. Find us now on the Zune store.
Zune store. Yeah, we are also looking at an exclusive partnership with Rubs Massage Parlor.
Is that the one that the Patriots owner Robert Kraft went to?
Oh man, I don't know, but his endorsement would greatly help as well.
Yeah, really, Robert, if you're listening, send us some cash.
So, what it comes down to is knowing that your efforts in the gym can sometimes be met with opposition through things that you wouldn't typically consider to be anything to do with lifting. So
Gotta
a lot
look
of
at the
people,
big picture.
Yeah, the big picture. A lot of people know that nutrition and exercise are very much correlated. They know that those two things have the power to shape your body. Not a lot of people know that stress and poor sleep can also change your body.
Yeah,
It can change your mind too.
Think of you in the gym, working out, and you in the kitchen eating nutritious food as you laying bricks for your house. But think about stress and the other negative things that may arise in your life, being as a demolition crew that's coming over to that house and smacking your wall with a sledgehammer, going behind the work that you were doing. So try to keep that guy away. Put up a fence.
Yeah.
Put up a fence of fapping hands, and you'll keep that guy away.
And okay, so part of that comes back to, because I kind of want to bring it full circle here. It comes back to finding what is enjoyable to you. So I know I've worked with people who didn't quite catch on to my style of training initially. So I had to adapt, and in doing so, kind of pick up new approaches to training as well. And that's really helped to broaden my horizons and see that there's not just one way that will work for everybody. I mean, physiologically, maybe we can come up with the perfect program that would work for the most amount of people, but that's highly unlikely, as that's not taking into account other factors like enjoyability. So it's the reason why a lot of people have taken to CrossFit as opposed to Olympic weightlifting. There's very, very heavy crossover between the two, except for one emphasizes more of the community aspect. Which one did better? Well, I'd argue that CrossFit is absolutely more popular than Olympic weightlifting, although Olympic weightlifting has been around for a lot longer. It comes down to CrossFit appealed to more people because it hit the enjoyability factor.
Can you briefly explain CrossFit to the audience, please?
Yeah, so I don't know too much about CrossFit, but I was turned on to it mainly by watching documentaries on Netflix surrounding the CrossFit Games. So from what I understand, training at a CrossFit gym and the CrossFit Games are very different. And CrossFit gyms are more like a group class environment, but instead of things like machines or, just I guess dumbbells are pretty popular in a lot of group classes and kettlebells as well. They make use of barbells as well.
And calisthenics.
And they also have a heavy emphasis on rowers and ski ergs, which is like a machine that mimics the motion of skiing. It's pretty cool. But what they do is they build these workouts that are usually time and rep based, not so much weight based, although at a certain level in your CrossFit career, weight does become a bigger factor, and you have to be pretty strong. I was watching this documentary most recently, and it was showing Matt Fraser, who's known as the fittest man on earth. That's the title you get when you win the CrossFit Games. Well, he's won it like the past, I don't know how many years, but pretty consistently. So he's the fittest man on earth, and this guy did sets of 20 at 315 pounds and knocked it out so quickly. A deadlift, sorry. I was trying to think what I was missing there. So he's doing the deadlift at 315 pounds, 20 reps in a row consecutively. And to watch this guy move, oh man, he had power, speed, everything. Obviously a very, very highly trained athlete. So at that level, you're looking at a well-rounded athlete who competes in things as diverse as weightlifting. They started incorporating shooting as well, which is interesting because it was
like archery or like with a gun.
With a gun. Yeah, they shoot at targets. Yeah, so okay, the reason behind that is because it was testing their ability to recover. So they would do this really like I don't know if they were sprinting or pushing something heavy, but they were doing something very taxing to the body and very taxing cardiovascular wise. And so they had really high heart rates, and then they had to steady and shoot. The goal was to shoot like 5 bottles. If you missed a shot, you had to go and do a lap again or whatever that challenge the exercise was, and then come back and shoot again. So the person who won that challenge is the one who could recover the quickest and steady themselves. So I thought that was interesting. But on a more local level, and probably what most people would be exposed to, you have the CrossFit Box. And those are independently owned because CrossFit itself is a brand, it's a company. But a lot of these are independently owned. And so there's variation in that. But the common thread is the Olympic lifts, the calisthenic movements, use of rowers, and absolutely emphasize community. They really try to come together and bond as a team. So you might show up to a class as a beginner, but be encouraged by all these other people who are sympathetic to you because they themselves were in that same spot and can understand what it's like. So it's a cool thing. I don't know. I mean, it works for a lot of people, man.
Yeah, and again, another idea of something to try for those of you out there who place a lot of value on camaraderie in your athletic life. This is more along the lines of like a team sport at that point, whereas bodybuilding, or which we'll talk about next, or powerlifting or Olympic lifting is really like you're a one-man team.
Yeah.
Like you are going to be competing against others, but it's on the day-to-day as you versus you.
Yeah.
Until you step on that stage or that platform, you are only really competing against yourself.
Yeah.
So let's touch on bodybuilding for a moment here, and this is one that the style of training that both me and John, or both John and I, sorry, are most versed in. So bodybuilding is essentially an endeavor to increase the size of your muscles and attain symmetry throughout your body in an as an aesthetic way as possible. In an as aesthetic way as possible.
Tongue twister.
Yeah, that was hard. But so this requires a lot. While there's crossover between, you can use Olympic lifts, you can use
Strength
powerlifting movements like the squat, bench, and deadlift are really staples for most bodybuilders as well.
Yeah.
But where bodybuilding comes in differently than these others is that there is a ton of isolation movements incorporated in. So whereas you're probably not gonna be doing a ton of bicep curls and tricep extensions and calf raises at a CrossFit class. It might come up occasionally, or in bodybuilding, you're not going to really be focusing on gaining size per se. You're going to be far more interested in gaining strength and doing accessory lifts that are going to help with your main lifts. Bodybuilding, it's not like that. There is no main lift. You pick what works the best for you that has given you the best results for growing your muscles. So this is something that I personally really enjoy because you have so many options and it's so hard to make it stale. So it's not like with powerlifting or weightlifting where you have like, these are your events. Mm-hmm. Here you go. This is what you must get good at if you want to succeed at the sport. With bodybuilding, there's so many day-to-day lifts that you can do that will yield you the desired outcome of muscle growth. I must also note with bodybuilding, there's also the aspect for a lot of bodybuilders in weight cutting, which is something that you also see in other weight classed sports, like even like martial arts and stuff like that too. Like weight cutting will be a part of it, but very much so in bodybuilding is that for a lot of classes in bodybuilding, you're gonna want to be super freaking lean. And
yeah, you're gonna have to be competitive.
Yep. And that's, well, I say bodybuilding is mostly what I practice. I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't go hop on stage. I'm pretty fat, honestly. I try to, my main goal with lifting is to get stronger, look better, be healthier. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. So I'm going to use whatever modalities of training that are enjoyable for me, that will keep me in the gym and working hard. And again, I got to bounce back to it. It doesn't have to be in the gym. You could be doing, you can be playing a sport or something. What are your thoughts on bodybuilding?
Man, so you covered a lot. Bodybuilding is awesome because of the variety that comes from it and because it borrows from so many of the other disciplines, or it shares a lot in common with them, like the compound movements. But besides that, bodybuilding has its own culture, even though it's a very independent and like single player thing to be doing. It has a culture surrounding it that is basically made up of people who enjoy looking better
and people who enjoy hating themselves and dieting down to crazy leanness and going kind of mad doing it.
Yeah, that can be pretty crazy. I mean, I'd imagine
it takes a special type of person to willingly put yourself through that. Like, especially if you're already fit and then you go and try to lose that weight, it is going to be a real challenge. Not to say that losing weight for someone who legitimately needs to lose weight isn't going to be a challenge. It's just it's a different beast.
Yeah.
Same concept, different beast.
Same conference. Same conference, everybody. So I brought this book along today, and I just like to read a little passage out of it because it's very relevant to what we're saying right now. It's talking about bodybuilding, and it's talking about different methods of training. So the book is The New Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding, and that's an Arnold Schwarzenegger joint. Fat book, covers a lot of bodybuilding stuff, all the way from the history, going back to Eugene Sandow in the 1800s.
Going all the way back to Jesus in year 1.
Yep. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the Bible without that.
Yeah, I made this joke last time when we botched the recording, so I thought I'd throw it back in.
Take 2. So we're doing a good job.
This is solid.
So in this book, like I said, he covers a lot, but what I'm going to read from is a section called Gyms for Non-Competitors, because he's talking about different places that you can train, different types of gyms, and different goals that people will have in those gyms. So here we go. A major difference in bodybuilding between now and when I started training is the number of people training like serious bodybuilders. That is, following a hardcore muscle building program, who have no intention of getting into competition. This category includes everyone from doctors and lawyers to accountants, teachers, businessmen, military personnel, and a lot of actors I've worked with in the movie business. The question is whether these individuals, since they have no ambition to be Mr. or Miss Olympia, need the same sort of serious training facilities as do would-be physique champions. The answer, of course, is not absolutely, but it really helps. After all, if you have a good swing, you can play a decent round of golf with almost any clubs. But if your equipment is modern and state of the art, you're going to get better results, no matter what your level of expertise might be. All right. So the point of bodybuilding training is to develop every body part in a proportionate, balanced way. It takes a certain amount of different kinds of equipment to do that, no matter who you are or what your training goals might be. Sure, you may not need a gym with a set of dumbbells going up to 150 pounds or more, but there should be an adequate amount of free weights and benches for you to do the basic exercises. A certain gym may not have a great number of choices of machines for particular exercises, but you have to have a certain minimum or you can't do what you're trying to do. So if you're using a gym that doesn't meet these standards, by all means, try to find one that does. And there's the last part here. Remember, muscle is muscle, and your muscles respond to the same training techniques and require the same exercise equipment to do a full workout as anyone else's. So if you're serious about the results you want to obtain, find a gym with the right equipment, an atmosphere that suits you, and people training around you that will inspire and motivate you to do your best.
That was very well put by Arnold. We could have just read that paragraph and then call it the whole podcast. But he failed to mention sports, man.
Yeah.
You got options beyond the gyms, beyond any type of gym. You got options. Go to a park.
I think that's like the least considered option, and it'd be sick if more people considered it, because we grow up playing sports, most of us, and most of us also find it highly enjoyable. But why does that have to be something that like sticks with childhood and isn't carried into adulthood? You can absolutely be a professional and play a sport as a hobby. I mean, it's just the same as when you were in school, man.
Well, Arnold mentioned golf, and golf is the sport that I play the most. I will note I am absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. But it still provides a valid opportunity for exercise. If you're out golfing, you're going to be out there for at least a couple hours, and you can scale the amount of work that you're going to be doing, even in a relatively light activity sport like golf. How about you walk instead of take the golf cart? Then you're walking for a couple hours throughout the park, and that is some great exercise.
Yeah.
And then it really goes up from there. There are other exercises or other sports that don't really require a lot of equipment, or like even golf. Like it's kind of an expensive sport. Though it is a one-player sport, you have the ability to do so. There's other things that you can do, such as basketball. Buy yourself a ball and go to a park and shoot hoops for an hour. That is going to get you working. Get a buddy and then up the game and play it one-on-one. Watch what happens. Look how sweaty you get after actually competing with somebody. And then that brings me to other two-player sports such as tennis. God, you ever play tennis, John?
Yeah, man. That's
so
cardio.
much running.
Wow.
So much running and coordination required. So there are so many, and let's touch on my favorite sport, as many people know, is Parcheesi. It's football. Football. you don't need a entire team to play. Go out, as long as you got someone to throw and catch with, you guys can run around and toss that ball to each other, and it's gonna be fun, and you're gonna get exercise.
Just kick a soccer ball.
Yeah, kick a soccer ball. Go do that. Play wall ball.
Oh, man.
Go find a brick wall and throw your bouncy ball at it and run around for a while. Do something.
Yeah.
So do not limit yourself to the gym. If you're not into weightlifting in any way, shape, or form, and you know that after actually giving it a shot, don't just think that weightlifting is not for me without ever setting foot in a gym and getting your hands on a barbell or anything like that. Go and try it first before you discount it.
An honest try.
Yeah.
Weeks.
So yeah, exactly, for a decent period of time. But if you decide that's not what you want to do, find what you want to do that's going to get you active. Go walk your dog. That's something that I say a lot. It's like, just go take your dog for a half an hour walk. That is going to be so much better than sitting around and doing nothing.
And treat it the same way you would as resistance training, in that it's going to require a commitment so that you can stay consistent, because there are no results without consistency. Nothing's going to ever stick or happen without that consistency. So if you're walking your dog and that's your chosen activity, make it a regular thing, not a once a week thing.
Yeah,
or
set a
once
time.
month.
Every day after work, you take your dog for a walk. Or every morning before you go to work, take him for a walk. Something like that. Point is, you've got tons and tons of options and very few excuses, legitimate excuses, if you are healthy and able-bodied, or at least able-bodied. You might not be healthy at this point, but you want to get healthy, and this is the route you need to take. Don't let those excuses take over, because everybody's got that lazy guy or girl inside of them that's telling them, like, go watch Netflix.
Yeah.
There's a new show on Netflix. Let's go watch this.
Oh, dude.
How about
Every
you go
day.
how about you go outside for a little while and earn that Netflix? Take a walk and then you can watch your Netflix. Use it as maybe a reward system or something like that. You don't have to cut out the activities that are using the majority of your time in your sedentary lifestyle. You just need to add a little bit of activity to the mix, and you will be better for it.
Yeah.
Once you can get good at that, then start looking at other things like your nutrition. But start small, start manageable, and success can be had if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, the benefits are cumulative. I mean, a lot of these things are slow to start. Building habits is always slow to start, and it can be very challenging, but in the end, it's always worth every ounce of effort and struggle that you go through in order to cultivate this better being, this better person.
Yeah, you want to be healthier. You want to live longer. You want to feel better. You want to look better, and you want the confidence. I'm assuming everybody should want the confidence to go about their life, to make their life something that's going to be fulfilling for them.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yep, whatever that is. So I think that is a good point for us to stop. We bought the bigger package. We're going hour episodes now.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to all the money we're getting in from Robert Kraft, we are going in on the lengthy podcast now. So to those of you who have asked for it, permission granted.
Yeah. This is for you guys again. Thank you very much. Episode 10. It's been a pleasure these past 10 episodes, and we plan on continuing this for some time here. We're just going to keep going with it, bringing you more high quality content as we continue to progress ourselves as coaches.
Exactly. And this honestly helps to give us a forum to freely speak on the subject. It helps to ingrain some of these concepts, and also it's always fun to talk about, in my opinion. So Thank you for joining me, John, and thank you, the audience, for listening. Again, we truly appreciate it, and we look forward to the next 10 episodes with you guys.
Yeah, all right. Next benchmark. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.